Good morning, everyone. Please be seated somewhere that's comfy for you. We're going to go ahead and get started. In case you do not know me already, my name is Liz Green. I'm the COC Network Liaison at Indiana Housing and Community Development Authority, IHCA. I want to thank you so much for your patience. If you didn't hear, we had a name tag nightmare this morning. But again, if that's the worst thing that happens today, then I can say we're doing okay. So again, thank you so much for your patience. I also want to do a few housekeeping announcements while we're all in the same place together. Obviously the rain is out of my control, so I'm sorry if you came in a little wet, but we are so glad that you were here. And I want to make sure that if you do need to take a break outside, if you indulge in smoking, this is a smoke-free campus, so please make sure that you go across the street onto the sidewalk. There's a wellness garden. Please don't partake in the wellness garden. That would not be okay. Again, thank you for your patience, and you are welcome to grab a pastry, fruit, coffee, what have you, as you need. And then throughout the day, you'll be traveling to different breakout sessions that are here on the first floor or the second floor. If you need directions, please find an IHCA staffer and let us know, and we're happy to help you. We huddled this morning, and if you heard some of our snarky comments, we apologize. We just are snarky sometimes in the morning. So anyway, without further ado, it's my pleasure to welcome you to our semi-annual Indiana Balance of State Continuum of Care Development Day Conference. And it's also my pleasure to introduce your board chair, Ms. Pam Isaac.
Good morning. Welcome. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a great location, and it's great to see everybody here. First of all, let me say thank you for attending. Thank you for this Spring Development Day, and I would like to ask those on the Development Day committee, if you would please stand, and let's give them a round of applause for putting together that. I know there's a lot of staff that's not in here, and they really participated in putting Development Day together, so I hope there are sessions here that you learn a lot from and that, you know, inspire you and you have great takeaways from this. I also want to thank our gold sponsor, which is Anthem. We could not do this without our sponsors. So Anthem is our gold sponsor, and Federal Home Loan Bank is our silver sponsor. So let's give them a round of applause. Our theme for the Spring Development Day is leaning into partnerships. And if you've been in this field for any length of time, you know that you need support of your partners both locally and statewide. And our goal in this is to bring all those partners together in one place. I know that we have some folks here, and I don't know, you know, maybe they're new folks who have never attended this, but it's a way to connect with not only those locally, but statewide. I've already had several people hand me their cards going, hey, let's connect, and I hope that you get cards and connections with other people today. That is very, very important. So make sure that that's our theme and that we stick with that. So thank you, because our goal is to help every Hoosier be housed. That's our goal. And so the way we work together is the way we make that happen. So again, that's our plan for today. I also want to bring to your attention that if you notice, you have lanyards, and you're like, well, I've never had a lanyard before. Well, that's because we have a new logo. We have the Indiana Balance of State COC logo that we've not had one before. And so if you'll notice the colors, if you'll notice, we think that it's eye-catching, and we're very excited to have put a logo together. And that was with the help of the ICA marketing team, and we cannot thank them enough. Make sure you get a lanyard. You have a choice of colors. I didn't know that, so I walked in, it's like, oh, what does this signify? So if you need black for this outfit and white for that, if you need to, we're okay with that too. Because I'm like, well, what would do? I didn't put mine on, I'm sorry. I picked white for today. Anyway, you women, some of you women know what I'm talking about. I don't want to go to your outfit. I would also like to ask the board of the Indiana Balance State COC to please stand. All board members who are present, if you would please stand. Please give them a hand for all of the We've been, I think we worked harder this year than we worked in previous years, but we've got a new strategic plan. We've been working on subcommittees. We've been doing a lot of things to help bring the state together and to work on the things that are important. So we do have some new subcommittees. We talk about the strategic plan in the fall development day. So there are some committees that we restructured those. So we have executive committees, we have the funding and resources committee. Those are not committees that the general membership can sit on. But we do have some other committees that we're going to start rolling out and doing some work on. So we have performance and outcomes, which we've always had, the performance data and those kinds of things, and grant. Typically, grants over there, if you do any kind of performance, you get grant. And grant has called you, grant has emailed you, so that's an important committee. We also have service engagement, and that is a committee that we're looking at service providers to be a part of. And then we have community engagement. And so those committees, as we move forward on what those committees are going to look at like and how they're going to roll out, there's going to be some information come out in the upcoming newsletter. So please make sure that you read that, and if you have an interest in participating, it'll give you ways to connect with us. So we appreciate that. And probably the big one that everybody's going to jump on is we're going to have an ad hoc landlord committee, because we think that that's very, very important. So that's, those are some things that are coming up. This structure will be explained in one of the sessions. It's in the afternoon session, and it's being led by Myra and Beth. And so they're going to do a fantastic job explaining the committee structure and all of those kinds of things. So if you want to learn more, that will happen this afternoon. And I think that that's all that I have for today. Again, I do want to thank all of you for being here, and I especially want to thank the ICA staff. Let's give them a round of applause. All right, have a great day, enjoy it, and enjoy the beautiful facility. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Pam. Let's also give Pam a round of applause because she worked so hard behind the scenes. Again, if you're just joining us, that there is coffee and other breakfast items that you're welcome to partake in. We're casual, so if you haven't had a chance to caffeinate and eat, please do so. We know that's important. And again, we thank you so much for your patience with the name tag situation. If you want to visit the table because you didn't have a chance, you can do so right after this opening plenary to make sure you get your very fashionable lanyard, the agenda for the day, and some other tax items to take home with you. Without further ado, I want to thank our opening plenary speaker, Mr. Brent Anderson, who's coming to us from the Indiana Department of Health. We know that you all take care of your clients and participants with compassion, respect, and dignity, but you also need to take care of yourselves. And so Mr. Anderson is here today to talk with you about how to do that and the impact that secondary trauma has on all of us. So again, without further ado, let's welcome Mr. Anderson.
Good morning. I would love to start by just sharing a couple of thoughts. I have a title for a book based on this morning, right? Getting here from Indianapolis, incidents of, the title of the book would be stress, it would be trains, it would be rain, it would be trooper, and stop by trooper. It's been a morning, just trying to get here, right? But that's what life seems to be like these days, a lot of busyness. Brent Anderson, I work for the Department of Health, I'm a contractor for the state. I work with health systems doing quality improvement, practice transformation work, certified mind-body medicine, a couple other things. And I was asked to talk about some of the work that we're doing, but really having a conversation about stress, trauma, and well-being. Can you guys all hear me? Yes. Okay. No? No? Okay. All right. Let me, is that better?
I'm short.
Okay, I'm going to try to talk into this. So what I want to do is share some thoughts. I've got slides, and I have had the joy of working with Dr. Bruce Perry. Anybody know the name Dr. Bruce Perry? Yeah, Dr. Bruce Perry is our content expert that's helping us. I lead the Indiana Primary Care Learning Collaborative, which is a collaboration of all of our funded partners across the state. Primary care partners, the folks that serve the underserved. I work with Open Door here, which is one of my teams. But everyone from Mescal's down to the small ones like Switzerland County and some others doing transformation work. In the last 2 years, we devoted our time to trauma-informed care as a way that we improve outcomes. And so I brought a couple of Dr. Perry's books. I started off the journey with our teams back in 2021 when we kicked it off. Anybody read What Happened to You? Yeah. If you haven't, it is sort of life-changing. Dr. Perry shifts the conversation and shifts the landscape from what's wrong with you to what happened to you as a way to understand that the things that happen to you are a big part of who you are. And this book, I think if I find somebody that really seems really excited and engaged and wants a copy, I have one. So just wanted to share that. The other book is The Boy Who Was Raised as a Dog, the other Dr. Perry book. I see some heads nodding. Yeah, but there's some stuff in these books that's powerful. Stories, it's trauma, it's understanding that when things happen to us, it has an effect on us, has an impact on us, and it's there. So part of the slides that are going to talk about ACEs. I've got the ACEs adverse childhood experience, got some of that research in here, some of that data. And then when you begin to have these conversations around trauma, we've done it for 2 years now, the question becomes, so what? So what are we going to do about it? What can we do about it? And so mind-body medicine is one of the things that is an option for us. I have a couple of exercises to emphasize that you can self-regulate. And I'll repeat, you can self-regulate. It's powerful. I'm hypertensive. So when I started today talking about stress, stress this morning, right? From being pulled over by the trooper who gave me a warning. I'm like, this is going to be a good day. It's going to be a good day. It's going to be all right, no matter what happens. And but learning how to create calm in the midst of all the stress. So, and as I'm waiting, in this long line to get the train out of the way, the longest train I think I've ever seen, because I'm trying to get it, right? And it just kept coming. It was in front of a fire station. There was a fire, but they had to go on an alarm. So we're in the way, so I'm thinking, okay, this is just getting better. So I'm just sharing that to say things come at you. And let's get into the first few slides, if that's okay. Would it be okay to start off with the video to kind of share? This is about secondary vicarious trauma, which relates, I think, to what we want to talk about there. It's coming over. Let's do it again. The other way. Go left. Great. Yeah. I don't think it's turned up. It's not turned up, yeah. It's on, but you gotta. You were at the icon at the bottom, the sound bar, just turn the sound bar up. Know that you do it?
Nothing's changing.
Okay. All right, well, we're not gonna let anything disturb us today, right?
I'm so sorry.
No worries, so we'll keep moving. So this video just highlights that. Anybody know what secondary vicarious trauma is? Anybody want to? Yeah. You want to shout it out? No? And I respect that. So this is just a video that talks about, you know, when you're a farmer or when you are a fisherman, you go to work and you come home and you smell like it, right? It's all on you, and you know that you've been fishing or you worked out in the, you know, in the fields, and it's obvious that you've been at work. The challenge is the mental health work, the behavioral mental health work in that space is not as obvious when you go home, right? And so that's what this is about. It's a video that just highlights it. It's an animation that just talks about it. It's very similar to fishing, going fishing, going out on a farm. You take that stuff home. And to think that you're okay after taking on everybody's problems all day, every day, on top of the pandemic that we've all, you know, moved through in some way, shape, or form, moving through it still, to think that you're moving through that without that having an effect on you is not a realistic understanding of what's going on with you and what's happening to you. So the video just highlights it. And this is just a quote that says, you know, you can just imagine, you know, it'd be like walking in the rain not being wet. Kind of one way of looking at it, right? It's not a realistic expectation. And so one of the things we're talking about is, it's really, adverse childhood experience is really trauma. And in many cases, most of us have stuff going on that happened to us when we were younger, still happening to us now, whatever load is on there. And we tend to, these things are within us, so they just keep piling up and piling on. And then your boss wants you to do more. You want to, you know, pursue your career aspirations, you want to just keep pushing. So we're going to talk about some of this and bring it all together. Next slide. I'm going to begin by doing something for me in the moment and for you guys as well. And it's soft belly breathing. It's being able to just pause, to just stop. And my busy morning, it's been hectic. And if we can begin to settle together, our time together is better. So let's begin by doing 90 seconds of soft belly breathing. And let me share with you what that is. So just get yourself in a comfortable position. Put your feet on the floor. Rest your arms in your lap or at your side. And we're just going to begin to breathe. Breathing into the nose deeply. And then exhaling slowly through the mouth. Okay? Now you can close your eyes or just soften your gaze. But this is 90 seconds for you to get your plan for it. And I need to help you stay focused. Right? So let's begin. Deep breath in. And a slow release. Deep breath in through the nose. And exhale slowly. And as you do this, think about where you're feeling tension as it appears today in your body. Maybe it's in your jaw, maybe it's in your back, your neck. And as we exhale, be very deliberate about releasing that tension and relaxing it. Take a deep breath in. Slow release, releasing that tension. And when we do this, we activate the vagus nerve. Vagus and that means water. It wanders up from the gut, through the chest, up to the brain, the amygdala. And it begins to several things. It is the antidote to the fight or flight response. Deep breath in. And slow release. This allows us to turn off the sympathetic function of our autonomic nervous system, which is the gas pedal, which is what we tend to keep on there. We can deliberately reset that by breathing in through the nose and releasing slowly and activating the parasympathetic function, which is the peace, the rest, the digestive function of the body. Deep breath in. And slow and steady. Let's just take a couple more. You may hear sounds, you may have thoughts, let them in, let them go. And the next couple of breaths, just focus in on being purposeful about just being, just breathing. Deep breath in. One last deep breath in. And release. And with that, you open your eyes. How was it? Anybody? Hands up if you felt that was a good thing. Awesome. Okay, next slide. And up on that slide, Dr. Bruce Perry says, if you do this 90 seconds of deep breathing at the top of every hour, you can significantly change the way your brain is shaped, how you manage trauma, how you manage stress, how you manage your day, and there'll be more lift at the end of the day. So 90 seconds of that at the top of every hour is something that we have to do. So adverse childhood experiences, who's had ACEs training? Anybody master trainer? Any ACEs master trainer? Okay, wow. Good. There are trainings. You look into, you like what you see in these slides, you want to become certified as an ACEs master trainer, ACEs Indiana Coalition. You can look that up. There are trainings that are offered periodically to become certified as a trainer, to share and be able to have these conversations that I'm about to have with you. This is just a piece of it. In an hour, I have a very ambitious agenda. But I'm going to try to do as much as I can in the time that I have. So I'm going to expose you to some of that data and some of the research. So what we now know is that what happens to us, those memories are stored in our bodies. And so this is a landmark study. It was done out at Kaiser, and it was with 17,000 Kaiser recipients, insured folks that participated in the study. And the data is overwhelming. It changes. When you become exposed to this, you can't unsee it. And so I'm going to share some of the research from it. Now just think about this. This is one of the, these folks had some of the best health insurance in the world. And the data that I'm going to share with you comes from predominantly well-educated, predominantly Caucasian population of folks. All right? So just use that as a reference as we begin the conversation. Okay, well, I'm going to try to move through these scripts. So we're going to have these more experience Okay, so this is research that really changed the landscape. And so what's going on now is Dr. Robert Anda and Laura Porter, these are folks that were researchers, Dr. Anda and Dr. Vincelletti, were the principal investigators. So this is such a powerful study that we're actively training folks across the country to have these conversations so that we have a better respect for the impact that ACEs has on our outcomes, and we can begin to do things at a local level. So you guys are going to see some of this, and it's going to stir you, and there's that one more. They want to start to become a community of folks that are having conversations about ACEs and what can we do about it to stop the historical impact that ACEs have on us. Thanks. So the ACEs study included 10 questions across these 3 domains that looked at household dysfunction, neglect, and abuse. These are not all ACEs, right? These are not all traumas. But this particular study was beginning to look at, let's just look at these and see what happens. And the data that comes after this is incredible. Look at household dysfunction, including substance abuse, parental divorce, mental health, mental illness, bad mother, emotional, physical, sexual. So those are the 10 categories, 10 questions, pick one of these categories. Next. Is there a question? Okay. And please feel free. I don't like talking at people. This is us talking together, right? So please hand up, ask questions, be as interactive as possible. So what we have now is that there's a dose response. So the greater the number of ACEs, the higher the poor health outcomes. Okay? Next. So what we know is ACEs are high, increased risk for health and social problems, and this is intergenerational transmission. All this stuff that's not good for us. Okay? And the next slide is going to center in around, we probably won't go to 6 slides, but we're looking at the things that are caused by ACEs, the things that are a result of ACEs. Okay? So look at reflect on that for a second. Look at the higher percentages to actually look at what's really being impacted here. So life dissatisfaction, 67.2%. Population attributed worse. That is the percent of the incidence of this that is attributed directly to ACEs. The powerful thing, and think about this as we look at these slides, we now know that if it is predictable, it is preventable. And that's what this research has taught us, right? So suicide, 67% is attributed to ACEs. Alcoholism, anxiety, marijuana use, asthma. Yeah, next slide. I've got a few of these just to kind of give you a different glimpse of the same pie, right? Intimate partner violence, 62%, 78% IV drug use, 69% serious and persistent mental illness. Yes, that's a question.
How many
This is from the 17,000. This is that research as it was broken out. Yeah. And it's been replicated a number of different times in different studies, but this was the first research that looked at this. This is powerful, right? What's the other big one on here? About just days off work, or just illness. Yeah, next slide. Alcoholism, 65%. Interrupted work, ill health, 15 greater than or equal to 15 off days, 15 to 30 days off of work, right? Yeah, I mean, you get the picture. Any questions as you kind of look and reflect on that? Any thoughts? Yes.
So how many were these people who had 4 or 5 ACEs, or were they just 1 or 2?
These are folks that had some that scored on the ACEs between 1 and 10, right? And the more, the greater that the incidence is. So this is like calculation of it. Yeah. Okay, next slide. Yeah, yes, another question.
Will this data be available on the IHCBA website?
I'm going to share, she has, yes, let's just say, yes. And that's the point of it, is to really start a discussion about the significant impact. And so the work that I'm doing with our primary care partners, we begin by saying we have to do things differently, right? So what we're doing typically now is grabbing folks as they show up. We're starting to do some population health, looking at, chronic disease, primary care, panels, pulling out those folks who have diabetes or hypertension, or, pulling those folks out as they show up and trying to manage them. But we got to go back upstream, right? The source of the problem is average childhood experience is trauma. So what we're doing is having an impact, but we're not going to have the best impact until we begin to have this in place, where we have an understanding, we have this nurturing, supportive, protective factors, these things in place for our kids. But that's really a part of the conversation today, too, is how important it is for us to create these healthy, nurturing environments for our brains. This is what Dr. Perry talks about. Doing this thing in such a way that our kids and the brains develop. First 2 months, according to Dr. Perry, the most powerful in the brain development of a child. First 2 months. Yeah, that's hard. Think about that. So what can we do? Now we're in conversation. How can we have the best first 2 months for kids? If we know what we know now, what can we do to create that environment for our families and our brains, our kids' brains? Next slide. So homelessness, right? I know what we're talking about. This is directly connected to average childhood experiences. So there's some more, just a percentage of that slide shows it as it relates to homelessness. Next slide. So, and this is a part of the ACES coalition work, part of what Dr. Ann and folks that are connected in this work. We're trying to do this thing where we're having these conversations, education opportunities, dialogue to a broad cross-section of residents. So we do this thing here, we're talking about trauma, right? So the community and resident professionals are surrounded by people who are knowledgeable about ACE concepts and skills for recognizing what's helping and what's hurting, and for engaging people who's affected by ACEs in hope-filled action. And then we reach a tipping point where we have an opportunity to do things differently, to develop compassion for self. And that's a big part of this too. Like, you see all of that information, all of these outcomes, these core outcomes. You can help give yourself some grace, right? Some of the stuff is in our DNA. It's in our truth, right? And what we know is historically, those things that happen with the stored in our bodies, they're in our DNA before we get here. It's just a part of our makeup, right? So trying to have these conversations where we can disrupt the historical trauma, the historical generational development of all of these core outcomes that are associated with ACEs. So that children reach their full potential, and that's what we're trying to do, is shift the script so that we're able to do this thing in a different communities. Next slide. So this is about historical trauma. It's about intergenerational adversity. It's sensitive developmental periods, the earlier periods, right? The first 2 months coordinate period, the most powerful in determining who we are and how we are. Yeah. There are public and private costs, and it's different across communities. Right? Yes.
I would really love to hear Dr. Perry's perspective of modern parenting techniques. Parents are encouraged to look at age 5, which intuitively never sounded right to me, so I've got a big part and I couldn't do it. But the first 2 months, what is the child learning? They're finding through. I don't know, I'm just throwing that out there for
yeah, and I don't know, it's scary, but we just know now that skin to skin is important, and as the brain develops from the bottom up, and at those earlier years, what's most important is to be regulated, so the brain can begin to develop in a normal, healthy way, because without that nurturing, supportive parent, the brain adapts. And it's either going to adapt in healthy ways or unhealthy ways, but they're both functional. Yeah, so I'd love to invite you to come when Dr. Curtis is with us, so you can listen in and you can ask directly that question. Yeah, that's good. But yeah, it's just important to feel your brain at that point, all it can really handle is nurturing and support, and that's all it wants, that's all that it needs at that particular point, that early on. And as you develop beyond that, to get to those higher functioning areas of the brain and the cortex, you need different things, right? But especially early on, that's what's most important. That is my interpretation.
Have they broken it out by gender and race? Is that a sort of a cross-sectional analysis of, I was looking at the neighborhood, people don't like their neighborhoods, but maybe they live in worse neighborhoods. Anyway, have they done any of that kind of research? Kaiser study might not be the best.
Yeah, it was the first. There's some other work going on beyond that. And I can certainly connect with you to see what I can find for you. But this is really just the foundational research and what we learned. There have been a number of things that have been replicated. But yeah, I'd love to see it across a lot of different parameters, right?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And some of that work is going on.
Okay.
Next slide. So yeah, this is another, so all of these things are directly related to ACEs. Take a pick, right? Insightful? Yeah, absolutely. Next. This is a lot. This is a snapshot of this stuff is stored in our bodies, it's stored in our DNA, it's in our trees, and all of us have things that we deal with. And some of it's been there before we even get here. So if you take a look at this is a tree, as a tree in its roots, which is our DNA, right, what's happened to us historically, are things like genocide, slavery, colonialism. These are adverse cultural experiences, forced family separation, segregation, harmful social norms. And then we show up, right? What happens after when we're born and we come into the world? Then our tree begins to grow. And it includes things that are, wildfires, droughts, floods, COVID-19, climate change. And then in those branches are things that are outcomes of all this, including domestic violence, divorce, emotional and sexual abuse, maternal depression, physical and emotional neglect, mental illness, homelessness. All of that's part of the branches, but if you want to really take a good look at that branch, you got to look at the roots and then all those things that are within it and around it. So that's kind of this conversation. This is stressful. So when you feel a certain way some days, this is kind of what's going on, right? The pandemic has been years stuff, it was, and it seems to be stuck a little bit. We all have stuff in our DNA that's just a part of our makeup, who we are. And so as you think about layers and layers and layers, and to keep moving through things every day as if we're okay, you may be. And Dr. Perry keyed on me. Dr. Perry, I kind of didn't understand this. He said the pandemic is not traumatic, not in and of itself. I'm like, yes it is. This is harder. Yes it is what you mean. If we have supports in place and we have protective factors in place, we have healthy relationships, healthy things going in our lives, we can handle it. It's an event, but it is not a lasting impact on us. That's kind of the definition of trauma. It's the event, but if it is a lasting impact that affects you emotionally, socially, in a number of different ways, that's when it's traumatic. And if we have the right support, loving family, loving community, our church, our spirituality, if we have these things in place, we can move through some of this stuff. Yeah, it was hard, but it didn't devastate us to the point of having a lasting impact. So that's part of the definition too. I'm going to keep moving, and if you guys want to hear more, I strongly encourage you to connect, to learn more about ACEs, and ideally become master trainers. You can share this, and we can begin to talk about things we can do in the community. Next. Yeah, what this says to me is personal. I look around my tree, and I lost my mom at age 16, lost my first wife at 56, and as you guys look around you, what does your tree, what does your lifespan look like? And so what we now know is a lot of this is taking years off of our lives, right? Growing up. And so if you score a 6 or higher, it's associated with 20 years of life loss. That's what we know from this research. It's predictable. So if I look at my mother and my first wife, all I see now is it was stress. It was trauma, it was ACEs, it was all this other stuff that's in our tree. So this is just a reflection of, how powerful and how devastating. I think you all can relate as you look around and look at, folks in your families and folks who aren't here. And the pandemic, and since we've kind of gone through this thing, there's still this stress level that we, I think, are feeling that's associated with it. And there's a slide that's coming up next. Let's keep moving slightly. I want to stay enough time so we can do a couple different exercises so we can do something about all this within us in the moment, right? So here's the important thing too. There's some controversy around the ACE score. It shouldn't be used as a screening or a diagnostic tool. And there's some states that are, there's a similar campaign that's going on in California, and they have a mission to screen everybody should know their score. And that's an initiative in California, and we're doing things a little differently. So here's what we are recommending. This is a state recommendation for ACEs. You can click through all those. It's not a diagnostic tool. It's not a screening tool. It's a predictor at the individual level, not a predictor at the individual level. So if I'm a 30 and you're a 30, that means that we're not, my experiences might be completely different than yours. I might be okay where you may not be. It's not an approved screening tool, right? There are approved screening tools. It is not one. It's just a research study that says what it says that you just saw, which is powerful, but it should not be used to do this in an individual setting. And we have some clinical teams that are choosing to do that. If you go into this well, you better be ready to deal with what you find. That's kind of the way I look at it, because you're going to stir up a lot. And if you don't have, and we have the mental health desert in this state, in many states, right? Not enough providers. And if I need help today, it's about 4 to 6 weeks before I can get some licensed clinical help. And if it's for kids, it's even longer. And so, this is my interpretation is it can be re-traumatizing. And what you find, you want to be able to support the person. If you know your score, you don't know anything about that score, that, there's some caution. So that's why this is part of our position statement. And it's not a fun quiz, that's all. It is, history tool, a way for us to have these conversations, common language, and a gateway to history, passion, and healing. Okay? Next slide. All right, so changes up to you doing these things, these trainings and these conversations, and whatever's coming up, doing something with that, right? It's like you see this, now what can we do about it? So I encourage you to learn as much as you possibly can. Let's do what we can to help our kids, our families, our communities have more nurturing, supportive things in place. Excellent. And there's the ACD Indiana Coalition. We'll look that up and find more about this information. Excellent. All right, so I know that's a lot, right? But one way to look at this, and this is where the mind-body medicine connection comes into play. In many cases, I felt like this, and I still have my days. It's like having a cup, and you pour into it all day, and you just keep pouring, and it's overflowing, and it's pouring, and you just keep pouring, and you get the picture. You ever felt like that? Yeah, I think we all have kind of gone through that. And some days you go through it many times a day where you just keep pouring, right? I'm just going to keep focused, I'm going to keep working, right? And so the mind-body connection is a powerful one because self-awareness allows you to realize my cup is full, and there's some things that we can do to empty the cup so that we can begin to do the work that we all get called to do. And all of us caregivers, I think most of us who are in this work, right? We're really good at taking care of everybody else, but we don't necessarily know what to do to take care of ourselves. And so my mind-body medicine certification, one of my trainings, it was with licensed clinical psychologists, psychiatrists, LCSW, licensed clinical social workers, folks who do the mental health, behavioral health work. The curriculum, they don't know what to do for themselves, right? And I know you guys, there's some in the room, right? We don't know what to do to take care of ourselves. And then when you start to talk about self-care, as I began this journey, people are looking like, man, you're stressing me out. What are you doing? I have time for this. I don't have time to breathe. Okay. Yeah, so then I say that facetiously because many of us are so busy, we don't even know how bad we are. We just pray it's got to keep working as our way to manage it. So what we're going to do is a couple things today to help you empty your cup to be able to keep going along. Self-awareness. And being able in the moment to say, I'm stressed, I'm relaxed. I have this ring. Anybody know what a mood ring is? Yeah, right? So this is a great way. I'm hypertensive. I've been able to get my hypertension under control by being self-aware. And my body medicine skills taught me this, that I can deliberately do things in the moment to regulate, self-regulate. The take home for today is you can self-regulate, right? So I watched this thing, it's supposed to be like a deep ritual, I think, which means I'm in a very relaxed state. It's kind of in between changing colors, just a reminder, right? Just relax. You want things to reset, right? That's why I work with next slide. And this is really good. Slide that just says that, just a new way of doing things. Trying to, if we put self-care at the center of the way that we manage things, you'll always have surgery and medicine. It's just there, right? But it isn't necessarily as powerful if we do this self-care thing, right? And figure out a way to do self-care better. Next slide. So self-care is brain care. That's one of the things that the Indiana Coalition is talking about. how do we do things to calm your brain? Let's get your brain right. So I just put this in here just to remind you, when I say self-care, I don't mean to stress you out. I just want you to understand, Dr. Perry says we have to take care of our brains. We have to do things that we deliver about resetting and relaxing and homeostasis, peace and balance, right? You can do that for your brain, but everything else comes with it. So what is it? It's resting, it's listening to your body, it's nourishing your brain, exercising your body, find friends to foster resilience, and practice gratitude. Okay, I gotta finish up in 2 minutes so we have enough time to do the exercise. Next one. And so here, this is Victor Frankl's quote. That between stimulus and response, there is a gap. And in that space, there's a space, lies the freedom and power to choose our responses. In our responses lies our growth and freedom. So in the moment when things are heavy and you're feeling stressed, you can take a second before you respond. And what you can do is reset yourself. With this calm space within the mind and your body as you move forward throughout the day, you can control that. That's what this whole guy is. And I'm living it and teaching it now, right? And I have to. Don't get me wrong, I still get stressed. My wife recently was sitting at the breakfast table, just got up, had a busy day, and said, "You okay?" I said, "What?" She said, "You're breathing out, you're breathing fast." I was like, "Thank you." So I'm practicing it with you as much as I'm sharing it with you. It is a constant journey because things come at you fast, so then, right? Okay, next one. All right, so here are my body medicine skills. It's breathing techniques, it's autogenics and feedback. Genograms, we actually do an exercise, small group work. So if you want to go through my body medicine small group work, I strongly encourage that. It's 2 hours once a week for 8 weeks. Really embed this in your life, skills and learn more about it. It's a wonderful way to do this thing, right? Genograms, you actually draw, it's a drawing of what your family tree looks like. Ooh, you see yourself in a different way as you begin to draw the branches of what's going on in your family tree. And I'd love to share more about that with you. But this is what we're talking about. When I say self-care, it's all these things. And many other things you may find I work through, but this is kind of the core of my body medicine. Next slide. All right. We can do 2 exercises, and you guys need to pick which one you want to do first. Would you like to do one that is relaxing and meditative and puts you in a very calm state? Or would you like to stir things up and get your body moving? What do you guys feel? Who wants to get in this deep, relaxed, meditative state? Okay, I think it's all right, we're going to do an exercise called autogenics. So, if you would, just get in a very comfortable, relaxed state again, right? And for about 10 minutes, we're going to do an exercise called autogenics. And this is designed to help you reduce stress, counteracts the fight or flight response, and it really just gets you in this you want to understand this first. That you can't regulate, you can't regulate, right? We're going to do some regulation. Who knows how to take the pulse? Yeah, take your pulse before we begin, and then what I'm going to do is I'll read a series of phrases, 6 times, repetitive phrases, and in order. And I'm going to do 6 phrases 6 times. Okay? And at the end, I want you to notice you're ready again. All right? I'll give you a minute to get the pulse. If you don't do the pulse thing, just notice the general state. Take a body scan, right? How you feel mentally, what's your body, what's your mood like? And then at the end, let's compare the beginning and after. Okay, ready? All right, so close your eyes. And as I say the phrase, just imagine it. So if I say, my head is cool, just imagine your head is cool. If warmth comes in the language and understand, you think of yourself like, oh, you're using this. Okay? All right. My arms are heavy and warm. I am at peace. My arms are heavy and warm. I am at peace. My arms are heavy and warm. I am at peace. My arms are heavy and warm. I am at peace. My arms are heavy and warm. I am at peace. My arms are heavy and warm. I am at peace. My legs are heavy and warm. I am at peace. My legs are heavy and warm. I am at peace. My legs are heavy and warm. I am at peace. My legs are heavy and warm. I am at peace. My legs are heavy and warm. I am at peace. My heartbeat is calm and strong. I am at peace. My heartbeat is calm and strong. I am at peace. My heartbeat is calm and strong. I am at peace. My heartbeat is calm and strong. I am at peace. My heartbeat is calm and strong. I am at peace. My abdomen radiates warmth. 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 I am at peace. My forehead is pleasantly cool. I am at peace. My forehead is pleasantly cool. I am at peace. My forehead is pleasantly cool. I am at peace. My forehead is pleasantly cool. I am at peace. My forehead is pleasantly cool. I am at peace. My breathing is calm and relaxed. I am at peace. My breathing is calm and relaxed. I am at peace. My breathing is calm and relaxed. I am at peace. My breathing is calm and relaxed. I am at peace. My breathing is calm and relaxed. I am at peace. My breathing is calm and relaxed. I am at peace. When you're ready, begin to come back in the room gently and slowly and letting your breathing begin. Take your pulse and take note of how you are now after you've done an exercise versus before. We're gonna share the experience. What was that like?
It was warm and at ease.
Warm and at peace? Who said that? She said she was warm and at peace. I forgot I was here. Yeah. How about, taking your pulse? Anybody notice a difference? Raise your hands or so. Yeah. Yes, awesome. Yeah, so this is just an exercise that shows you that you can slow your heart rate, you can improve digestion, you can do things deliberately to find balance. The problem is we have this thing that regulates us. It's the autonomic nervous system. It's sympathetic and it's parasympathetic. The problem is we have the sympathetic on all day long. Can anybody relate to that? Yeah, just going and going and going. So just being deliberate in the moment to settle that and to find parasympathetic balance. You can do breathing, you can do imagery, you can do any of those things that were on the screen, doing some things to regulate. Yeah, so that's what that exercise is. All right? So we have a few more minutes. Would you like to shake things up a little bit? Yeah, look at it nice and relaxed. Yeah, so what we're going to do now is shaking and dancing. You can stand up. You can go anywhere in the room. You're going to need a little bit of space. Yes? And I know you're in a calm, relaxed state, so you need to be about arm lengths away from the person next to you. At least arm length away from the person next to you. Spread out a little bit. You guys can take about a minute to just settle, and then we'll get into shaking and dancing. All right, so here's what shaking and dancing is. So you're going to spread your legs, shoulder length apart, and then when the music starts, you're just going to bounce. Just go back, right? And then what you're doing is you're trying to get your body to move. So you're going to begin by moving the lower part of your body. Get your ankles and your knees, right? You're going to move up to the hips. Get your hips going. I got bad hips, so I'm doing the best I can. Yep. And then, I'll give you directions on what to move next. This is what it looks like. And so you're just going to be shaking, right? Getting a chance to move a little bit. All right? So when the music begins, there's 3 parts. We're going to do that first part, then we're going to pause, do a body scan, just breathe, notice how you're in between, after that first part of it, how you feeling. And then the last part, you're just going to move it any way that the music moves. Okay? You guys ready? All right. Go ahead and begin shaking, right? We're going to do this for about 5 minutes. Keep going. All right, move those knees, right? Get them moving. Work it up to the hips. Get the hips moving. Okay, now here's the secret. Close your eyes, and you don't worry about what anybody else is doing. This is not a dance contest. It's just moving, right? So close your eyes. Move your hips. And begin to move your arms. Move those wrists. Take those wrists. Start to take out that tension. Take those elbows. Get those shoulders going. Release that tension. Keep moving. Keep moving. And notice where you may have tension. Start to shake that tension out. Your body will tell you, hey, come over here, hoop this.
Feel like this.
Got about 3 minutes left. Shake those hands. Get any tension out of those fingers and your arms. Take that energy loose. Move your neck. Release that tension in your neck. Okay, so the next minute, pick the pace up. For 1 minute, pick the pace up. And if your eyes are closed, you don't care what you're doing, right? So don't worry about what you look like. We're not watching you. Keep taking, keep moving. You've got about a minute left. All right, notice where that tension is. Any remaining tension, let it go. All right, 30 seconds. And in the words of Dr. James Gordon, the director of the Center for Mind Body Medicine, shake that thing. Okay, stop. Okay, so now a minute, just relax. Just work on your breathing, and we've got a final phase of this. So just take your breath, deep if you wish. But the last part, going to be standing up and doing the last part of taking things. Okay, so take your breath. Now just notice, settle in the moment. How do you feel? In your mind and with your body, you feel like, what was that like? Just think about it. Scan what that was like and notice anything about what that did for you. In about 30 seconds, we're going to do this third phase. Okay, everybody up again. This is the final phase. And when the music starts, move any way your body's telling you to move. Just be and let that be in the moment, anywhere your body is telling you to move. All right? Close your eyes. You're not worried about what everybody else is doing. You can sing if you wish, that's okay. Move, just keep moving, right? Move. And if you have limitations, I've got a bad hip, I can't move like I want to. Just do whatever you can, stay still in any way that you can. All right. You can have a seat. After each one of those experiential exercises, we always ask, how was that? What's coming up in the moment? Anybody want to share? What was it like? Yes.
I enjoyed how nobody said to do it, but everybody started singing together.
If you guys heard that, she said she enjoyed how everybody started singing, even though it wasn't really directions. It came out, it comes up, that's awesome. It's part of what this is about, is letting some of that stuff out. Emptying the cup, so those layers, some of that stuff you shed, you shake it, you get it out through shaking and dancing. Yeah, anybody else want to share? Yes.
I think going off of what it's even kind of like a co-regulation thing, because like our heartbeats may sync, and like, so it just felt very unifying.
There's something about doing this as a group. When you breathe together, when you move together, it builds a sense of team, it builds a sense of oneness. Yeah, so strongly encourage, do this with your team, right? Do this with your family, do this with your kids, right? It does create that spirit of oneness. Anybody else? Say it again.
Brought out joy and happiness.
It brought out joy and happiness. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, there are days when it's tough to find joy and happiness, isn't it? Yeah. And this is something you can do by yourself. Yeah, because I cut it out. Exactly. I've done so much on this thing, it's done that, Thursday, next Tuesday, can't wait. But I can slow it down, but I can get up and do this and move, and I feel completely different after I do it. Because the days when we just sit, I know part of my problem is that during the pandemic. Virtual meetings all day, every day for years. My ego was like, okay. So yeah, it's a great way to move and shake yourself. Awesome. Thank you. Any last thoughts? All right, anybody interested in a copy of what happened to you? Yeah? I saw the first hand go up right here. Yeah. Okay, how about the second book? The Boy Who Raises the Dog. I see the hand, left hand in the over. Yeah. Yeah, your hand went quickly twice. Thank you guys so much. And if you want to learn more, I just put my contact information up there. Liz has it, and you guys have been awesome. Thank you so much for your time today.
I don't know how he did that, but he gave us a truckload of really, really heavy information and then sent us out the door feeling lighter than when we walked in. Amazing. Thank you again. Let's give him one more round of applause. Again, thank you all for being here and taking time out of your very busy schedules to build partnerships. Like your board chair Pam said, if you don't have business cards, find other ways to connect and share your contact information with people today. Also, at the end of every presentation, there is a way to reach out to the presenters. And some of these breakout sessions and definitely the plenaries are being recorded. All of the PowerPoint presentations will also be available on the IHCBA website. So they won't be as soon as tomorrow, but in the very near future, you'll be able to access the PowerPoint presentations and the sessions and plenaries that were recorded. So without further ado, I want to remind you that if you weren't able to check in, please do that before you move on to breakout session 1. If you don't get a name tag, it's not that deep, but we would like to know that you're here. And most importantly, we want to make sure that you get the very stylish white or black lanyard along with the postcard that you can share that has the barcode. And I see a lot of you have the agendas in hand. That will be essential today so that you kind of know where to go. Everything is either on the first or second floor. And there are elevators if needed. So I'm going to be quiet now and welcome you to find your first breakout room session